opportunity to speak on the topic, because you all knows the previous webinar, whoever has been attended knows ki on which topic we are doing this series. So basically, this is the series of webinars, and in this series, we will discuss the regulations, because this is not the webinar in which only I will speak and you will listen. This is the webinar in which I will speak, and you can also speak, and you can provide your views on the various regulations which require to be redrafted, or some amendments have required to be made in these regulations also, and we can recommend our suggestions to the ICSI IPA, and the ICSI IPA can give the suggestions to the IBBI for the further modifications. So this is a basic motive of this webinar series. So without any delay, I just start with the regulations. I will show you the regulations which was already amended by the IBBI. However, there are some changes still have required, because you all knows the day-to-day changes have been required in the IBC code as well as the regulations also. So I will share the regulations first, and I will also ask to the all the participants, please on their cameras, and this is the interactive sessions. So provide your fruitful suggestions in the chat box, as well as per the speaking of yours. So the ICSI IPA can give all the recommendations and all the changes to the IBBI, and IBBI accordingly modified the all the regulations. So this is the basic motive of this webinar series. So I just share the regulations first. This is a very interesting topic, because the topic is related to us, because today's topic is related to discuss the regulations which are related to the insolvency professionals. So I will first I will share the regulations. So my screen is visible to all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. Now we'll discuss the first regulations. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India Insolvency Professionals Regulations. This regulation is basically related to us, and this was amended up to 3rd April 2025. So I have taken up the regulations which is amended. The recent amendments is also there in these regulations. So first we will discuss this. So what was provided as per the regulation? Because you know the definition part, I will start with the definition part, and this was came into force on 29th November 2016. You all are professionals, are attending today's webinar, so you all are aware. So we'll start with the definitions, and definition part, what is provided as per the definition. If we will see section 2(1) subsection A, subregulation A, the assignment, what is the meaning of the assignment? Basically defined here. So assignment means any assignment of insolvency professional as interim resolution professional, or the resolution professional, liquidator, bankruptcy trustee, authorized representative, or in any other role under the code. So basically this is the definition of the assignment, and this cover all our roles like IRP, RP, liquidator, bankruptcy trustee, author AR. So all are covered here as per the definition of the assignment. Now, what is the authorization for assignment basically? So the authorization of for assignment means an authorization to undertake. You be very well aware of this, because we have required to pay the fee for this to also to the ICSI IPA. So the authorization for assignment means an assignment authorization to undertake an assignment issued by the IPA to the IP who is its professional member in accordance with the bylaws. So basically, this is the authorization for assignment definition is here. Ki whoever is registered with the IPA, there are three IPAs: the ICSI IPA, the ICAI IPA, ICMA IPA. So there are the three IPAs are there, and who is its professional member in accordance with its bylaws. So the have required to take the authorization for assignment from the said IPA. Now, what is the Bar Council? Because advocates are also attending today's webinar. So the Bar Council means a Bar Council constituted under the Advocate Act. So they all all are very aware. The Bar Council means the whatever is constituted as per the Advocates Act 1961. And the certificate of registration basically means the certificate of registration granted by the board under section 207 of the code. Read with these regulations. So the registration whatever granted by the board means is the IBBI board is here. The code means we all knows means the IBC code, and the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India means the institute which was constituted as per the Chartered Accountant Act 1949. And the Cost Accountant Institute of Cost Accountant of India means the institute constituted under the Cost and Work Accountant Act 1959. And Institute of Company Secretaries of India means the institute constituted under the Institute of Company Secretaries Act 1980. So 49, 59 and 80. So these are the basically institutes. Now, the professional members means an individual or an insolvency professional entity recognized by the board under Regulation 13 who has been enrolled as a member of an IPA. So basically, who is the professional member? An individual means an individual can be an individual or IPE. So both are covered as per the definition of professional member. Recognized by the board because IBBI will grant the registration, who shall be enrolled as a member of an IPA, and we have required to enrolled as a member of IPA also, like ICSI IPA either, or the ICSI IPA or ICMA IPA. So whatever, all these three IPAs are available and we are the members of these IPAs. Unless the context otherwise require, the word and expression used and not defined in these regulations shall have the meaning assigned to them in the code. Now, there is only one amendment in this regulation. I will also show you. However, first we will discuss the regulations, the regulation wise definitions we will discuss, and then I will show you what are the changes was made. So the regulation number 3, what is provided? The insolvency examination. So how we will pass the examination and what are the procedure has been provided as per the regulation number 3. So is there anybody want to change in above definitions? If all are satisfied with these definitions, then no issue. Or if anybody wants to make any suggestions to change in these definitions also, they can share their views, and or they can share their suggestions in the chat box also. So we can go proceed, or is there anyone want to make any changes in these regulations also? Because as per my view, I have not required any changes in the definitions part. So is anybody wants to change any further amendments in these definitions, they can suggest, otherwise I will proceed further. Okay. So no suggestions, then I will proceed on the chapter number 2. So what is the chapter number 2? Basically, the insolvency examinations. The board shall either on its own or through a designated agency conduct a national insolvency examination. We all know the NIE is there, in such a manner and at such frequency as may be specified to test the knowledge and practical skill of individuals in the area of insolvency and bankruptcy and allied subject. The board shall either on its own or through the designated agency conduct a limited insolvency examination to test the knowledge and application of knowledge of individuals in the area of insolvency and bankruptcy and allied subjects. The syllabus, format, qualifying marks, and frequency of limited insolvency examination shall be published on the website of the board at least 3 months before the examination. So, is there any change required in this regulation, or this is okay as per of for all? Or is there any suggestions? If anybody wants to make any changes in this, they can suggest. Okay. No suggestion, then I will proceed the chapter number 3 because I am also having no suggestions for this. The chapter number 3 is the registration of insolvency professionals. So, how to register eligibility? What is the criteria? The no individual shall be eligible to be registered as an insolvency professional if he is a minor, he is not a person resident in India, or does not have the qualification and experience as specified in Regulation 5 or Regulation 9 as the case may be, or has been convicted of any competent court offense punishable with the imprisonment for a term of from the date of expiry of the sentence. So, provided that if a person has been convicted any of the offense and sentenced in respect of the imprisonment for a period of 7 years or more, he shall not be eligible to be registered. So, basically, it was defined ki who can be the insolvency professional and what is the eligibility criteria and who cannot become the IP. So he is a undischarged insolvent or has applied to be adjudicated as an insolvent, and he has taken declared to be a unsound mind. So these type of persons are not eligible to become as the IP. He is not a fit and proper person. So these kind of people cannot become the insolvency professional. For determining whether an individual is fit and proper person, how can we determine ki whether a individual is a fit or proper person? Under these regulations, the board may take account of any consideration as it deem fit, including but not limited to the following criteria is also defined by the board. The integrity, reputation, and character will define ki whether it is a fit or proper person. The absence of convictions and restraint orders, this will decide ki whether a fit or proper person. And because the word is and is here, the competence including the financial solvency and net worth. So this will define basically the fit and proper person. So the no IPE, basically they have given the definition of insolvency professional who is eligible to be appointed and who is not eligible to be appointed. But for the IPE, no insolvency professional entity recognized by the board under Regulation 13 shall be eligible to be registered as the IP insolvency professional if the entity and or any of its partners or directors as the case may be is not a fit and proper person as per the as per this. So if any IPE is in India and it is if recognized by the board and shall be eligible to be registered as an insolvency professional only when if the entity and its partners or its directors as the case may be not a fit and proper person. So they have required to fulfill this criteria. Who has required to fulfill? Its partners and or its directors. If this is a company, then the directors, or if this is the LLP, then its partners. So they have required to fulfill these criteria for registration for becoming as the insolvency professional. This is the eligibility criteria which was defined by the board. Now, what is the qualification and experience? Now, what qualifications required? We all knows because we all are attending here the is the IPs, mostly are the IPs are attending. So what is the experience and qualifications required? The subject to the other provision of these regulations, and individual shall be eligible for registration if he has passed the first, we have required to pass the insolvency, limited insolvency examination. Now there is a one amendment which was made by the IBBI by this regulation, because this is the 3rd April 2025 the amendment was made in there. So one amendment was made by the IBBI here. So I will show you what is the amendment which was made by the IBBI in the regulation. The qualification and experience. In this regulations, the board have made some amendments, which is the 24-month. Now this is has passed the limited insolvency examination within 24 months before the date of his application for enrollment with the IPA. So there is the 24-month was given to a professional, to the professional for the registration after the, if I was passed my examination on 24th May 2025, okay, then I have 24 months for the enrollment with the IPA. Now there is a change which was made by the ICS, by the IBBI. I will show you. Actually, I'll just show you like this. So this was substituted. Basically, this was substituted by the notification number this 3rd April 2025, very recently, with effect from 3rd April 2025. Before substitution, it was stood as 12 months, because now this was substituted. Earlier it was stood as 12 months. Now it is 24 months. So this is the only change which was made by the IBBI. Now we have the more time within 24 months before the date of his application for enrollment with the IPA. So has passed, we have required to pass the limited insolvency examination within 24 months, because earlier this was the 12 months. So this was substituted. Now there is also mentioned he has completed a pre-registration educational course within 12 months from the date of the payment of non-refundable application, because this training have required to be done as may be required by the board from the insolvency professional agency. Basically, IPA have organized this training, because we all have attended this training after his enrollment as a as a professional member, and has successfully completed the national insolvency program as may be approved by the board, and successfully completed the post graduation insolvency program as may be approved by the board, and experience of, because this was in the, this is also here, and experience of 10 years in the field of law if having the bachelor degree in law, and 10 years in the management if having the master degree in the management, and 15 years in the management after receiving a bachelor degree. If I am having the bachelor degree in management, then required 15-year experience, or if I am having the master degree in management, then required the 10 years experience. But if I am the bachelor degree in law, then required the 10 years experience. And from the university established or recognized by the law, or the institute approved by the AII India Council of Technical Education, or 10 years of experience as CA is the chartered accountant, company secretary, cost accountant, and advocates. So basically, the 10 years criteria is there for all these professionals. So this is basically defined by the IBBI ki who can become and what is the experience and qualification required for becoming the insolvency resolution professional. Some of the example was also given here. For the purpose of this regulation, only professional and managerial experience shall be considered. So for the purpose of computing of 10 years or 15 years, if we will compute the total experience of 10 or 15 years as per clause this shall be included the experience of any period under subclause 4. It means they have also given some example. Illustration 1 they have given also. So we all knows about this because we have already qualified. I don't think there is a need to discuss this because the where an individual has experience of 6 years as per item number A and have the experience of item number D, so shall be considered both together. We will count the 10 years, we will count 6 years as well as the 4 years. Then the total experience will be counted as a 10 years. So this is a basic illustrations. Now application for certificate of registration. So how to apply? An individual enrolled with the IPA as a professional member may make an application to the board through the insolvency professional agency. So first we have required to make our enrollment with the IPA of which we are the members like ICSI or ICAI or ICMAI. So we have enrolled there. Now insolvency professional entity eligible for registration as the insolvency professional under sub-regulation 2 of regulation 4 may make an application to the board through the insolvency professional agency of which it is a member. So as an individual we have also required to register with the IPA, or if we want to register our IPE then we have also required to register our IPE with the IPA. So then the IPA will give and the form was also provide form A for the individuals and form AA is for the IPE. So basically in these regulations, I don't think there is any change we have required. So if anybody have any suggestions, because we have already discussed one or two more regulations. So any changes, if anybody want to suggest in these regulations, they can provide. Otherwise, we can proceed further. So okay, so is there any suggestions in these regulations? I don't think there is any suggestions. So we'll proceed with the certificate of registration. If the board is satisfied, we have applied for the registration. Now, if the board is satisfied, after such inspection and inquiry, it deemed necessary that the applicant is eligible under these regulation, it may grant a certificate of registration to the applicant to carry on the activities of IP in Form B. So basically, this registration will be given in Form B of the second schedule of regulation within 30 days. There is the days are also mentioned of the receipt of the application, excluding the time given by the board for presenting any additional documents. So these time period will be excluded if any taken or given by the board for presenting any further documents or information or clarification or appearing person as the case may be. So the registration shall be subject to the conditions that the insolvency professionals shall at all time abide by the code, rules, regulations and guidelines thereunder and by laws of the IPA with which he is enrolled. So basically this is the certificate of registration and how the board will grant the registration. All the procedure is mentioned here and required to pay 20,000 fees because we have already paid the fees. So we all knows how much fees required to be paid to the IBBI. So 20,000 fees pay to the board, a fee of 20,000 rupees in case of IP is an individual, or a fee of 2 lakh in case of the IP professional is the IPE. If IPE, then 2 lakh fees required to be paid to the board. If we are individually applied, then we have required to pay 20,000 rupees fees. So every 5 years, because this fee is for the 5 years after the year in which the certificate is granted, and such fee shall be paid before the 30th April. And 30th April is the last date which is mentioned here. And fall due, whenever the fee fall due, will require to be paid before the 30th April. So this was mentioned here. Now we will discuss the certificate of registration we have taken, and where the registration, this is the illustration. If when on 2nd February 2022 the registration was granted for 21-22, the fee shall become due on 1st April 2027 after 5 years. So they have given the illustration also by which we can understand when our fee can be due. So pay to the board as per the calculation, and we have also required one more fee. Pay to the board a fee calculated at the rate of 1%. This fee also required to be paid by the IP. The professional fee earned for the service rendered by it as an IP in the preceding years. Means if I have earned something in this financial year, then we have required to pay 1% fee also to the IBBI. So this fee also required to be paid before the 30th April, and required to pay required to submit a statement in Form E, because we have already submitted this form. The 30th April was already have gone. So we all, as a, if IP, we are attending this webinar, we have already filed this form, statement in Form E, which have required to be filed. If we are not having any fee, we have not earned any fee, then still this form have required to be filed with the nil description. We have required to file this form to the IBBI. So provided that for the financial year 1920, the IP insolvency professional shall pay the fee under this clause on or before the 30th June 2020. For 1920, the 30th June is the period, but for the other years, the 30th April is the period for the for filing this statement. Now provided further that the for the financial year 20 or 21, because there was the COVID in this period in 2020 and 21 periods. So the extension of 30th June 2021 was given here, and 30th June 2020 was given here. For other years, the 30th April only. So
Here is the suggestion, madam,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that after 5 years an IP has to pay the fee again.
Yes,
So here, in case for 5 years, if that IP has not been assigned any work and
yes,
he has not earned anything,
yes.
he should be exempted from the fee after 5 years.
Yes, sir. Very, very much appreciated, sir. I'm also agree with you. So, I also want to suggest to the ICSI IPA, if we are not having any assignment and we have not earned anything, then there is no fee required to be charged by the board also.
And
So
second is,
please, yeah,
every
yes,
year they are charging fees from us, and
yes,
when there is no earning, it should be
yes,
some sort of exemption or some discounted fee should be there, because
yes,
we
yes, sir. From the
on
IPA side also, and as well as from the IBBI side also.
because the
Yeah,
IP is
yes,
without earning, we are paying out of our old savings, and there is
yes.
not a single rupee is coming. Then there should be
Yes,
some provision for exemption or for a discount.
yes, yes, sir. So, if you have, because I will suggest, or otherwise I will draft, because we will give the draft after CA. They have required to insert the provisions CAA, or whatever the suitable to the IBBI. CAA should be there. If the IP have not earned any fees during the 5 financial years, then they should be exempted, or some kind of exemption required to be given to them on the fee, to the IBBI also, and the or the IPA also. So
Yes.
yes, sir. So I will recommend to the ICSI IPA that they recommend to the board CAA should be inserted here, CAA should be inserted here. After CA, the CAA should be inserted here and should be mentioned. If the IP have not earned any money or there is no assignment to the IP, then they should be exempted.
And also about annual fee. Annual fee they are going on charging. If
Yeah.
in any particular year there is no earning, then fee should be not there.
Yes, sir. So I will also request to the ICSI IPA, please note it down our suggestions, and I will also request to you, sir, if you are comfortable, you can mention in the chat box also.
Okay, okay.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So we'll proceed further. The CB pay to the board a fee is specified under sub-regulation 2 of Regulation 31A of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. The insolvency resolution process for corporate person regulation 2016 within a period of 30 days after the end of the quarter, each quarter or upon the closure of the process, whichever is earlier, along with the statement in form EA of the second schedule. So this is basically for the IPE. So they have required to disclose and file their statement in Form G. The quarter means we all know the 3 months is the quarter, and this was commencing on the first day of January, April, or July, or October for a financial year. Not render services as an IP insolvency professional unless he become a partner or director of a IPE recognized by the board under Regulation 13 if he is not a citizen of India. So if a person who is not the citizen of India, he cannot render any insolvency services, any insolvency professional services unless he has been registered with the IPE. So if any person is registered with the IPE and he is the not the citizen of India, then only he can provide the insolvency professional services. So basically this was also mentioned here. Take prior permission of the board for shifting its professional membership from one insolvency professional agency to another after receiving no objection from both the concerned IPA. So basically, if we want to shift our registration from ICSI or ICAI to the other IPA, then we have required the permission from the board and also required no objection from both the IPA. Take the adequate steps for redressal of grievances, maintain the records of all assignment undertaken by it under the code for at least 3 years from the completion of this assignment, and abide by the code of conduct specified in first schedule. So we are abide by the code of conduct. So I will also discuss the code of conduct in details because the time is very short. So we'll proceed further. The authorization of assignment, we all already read the definition. What is the authorization of assignment? Now the 7A regulation also provide an insolvency professional shall not accept or undertake an assignment after 31st December 2019. Means before this, if any assignment, then authorization of assignment not required unless it hold a valid authorization for assignment on the date of acceptance or the commencement of such assignment as the case may be. So provided that for the provision of these regulations shall not apply to an assignment which an insolvency professional is undertaken as on 31st December 2019 or the date of expiry of his authorization for assignment. So basically this is not applicable on this. Now there are some suggestions from my side because there is the 7A is there, regulation 7A is there. So I want some more regulations have required to be inserted by the IBBI. I have made a draft. I will share with you also. My screen is visible. My draft is showing to you, all of you.
Yes, visible.
Have you seen my draft now, sir?
Yes.
because I was drafted some of the regulations required to be inserted.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
it is
thank you.
visible.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The regulation 7B, because I have shown you the regulation 7A is there. So I want that 7B required to be inserted. The what is provide as per the 7B, the equitable assignment of work, because we have seen there is so many issues with the IPs. Some of the IPs having huge work and some of the IPs having no work. Is still the IPs who have recently qualified, they have still not a single assignment. So I request that to the IBBI that equitable assignment of work should be there, because IBBI is charging a huge fees from the insolvency professionals. So they have also having some of the responsibility to the professional. So there should be a regulations basically, which will be the strict regulations. The board shall establish and maintain a central assignment portal for the allocation of the insolvency assignments. So this is my recommendation, and the portal shall maintain an updated list of all registered IPs, their work history, their current capability, and no insolvency assignment under the code shall be made outside this portal, except with the written consent, written approval of the board. And the portal shall allow an assignment distribution mention given in preference to the insolvency professional who is not received any assignment, and the IPs who have received fewer than 3 assignment in a preceding 12 months, and the prior experience as an IP shall not be a precondition for the receiving of an assignment. Because nowadays I have seen the lookout of the banks also, they are preferring the those IPs who are having the prior experience. So I also recommended to the board they should take some initiative, so the fair distribution or the assignment can be given to the newly qualified, and all also on those IPs who are not having a single assignment. So yes, so IPs who have been fewer than the 3 assignment in the preceding 12 months. So this is my recommendation. Basically, prior experience as an IP shall not be precondition, or not be a precondition, and the portal shall ensure the rotational allocation.
Very good suggestion. It's a very
Yes,
good
rotational
suggestion.
allocation subject to the IP not being under the suspension or the disciplinary proceedings. And all COC members and financial creditors and adjudicating authority shall select IPs only through this portal. Any deviation shall be reported and penalized, because this required to be penalized, only then the strictly regulations will be followed up, unless approved by the board for a valid reason. So there should be some of the insertion like these type of provisions in this. And one more suggestions is also there from my side. Regulation 7C, the unified empanelment of insolvency professionals. All the financial creditors, because every banks having their own portals, having NBFC having their own portals. So why they have their own portals? The IBBI should be strict on this also. All financial creditors, including bankers and NBFC, shall procure the services of the IP only through the central insolvency assignment system, which was maintained by the board only. No financial creditor shall maintain
It's
a
a very good
separate
suggestion.
panel of IPs for the purpose of initiating the proceeding under the code. And any such panel maintained as on the date of this notification shall stand void within the 30 days unless approved by the board. So there should be some restrictions by the board on these type of empanelments also, because we have required to submit our application to SBI. Empanelment is different, is the PNB is there, is the UBI is there. So Every bank, every NBFC is having their own empanelment. If there is the already having the empanelment with the IBBI, why there is a need to maintain a separate empanelment by the banks? So there should be a strict regulations on this also on behalf of the board. This is my recommendation. And the board shall publish a national empanelment list of eligible IPs, updated monthly and used mandatorily by the banks and financial institution under section 7 applications, operational creditors requiring the IP services and adjudicating authority. So the board should have provide their list to all these concerns authorities. Now one more my recommendation is there. The regulation 7D should also be inserted. Enforcement of sealing on assignment by the IPs. So because in code of conduct, if we will read clause number 22, I will also show you clause number 22. This is not strictly followed by the IPs, and there is no regulation for this. So this is the code of conduct is the first schedule. So in 22, I will show you what is provided as per regulation 22 of the code of conduct schedule regulation. This is a 22. An insolvency professional must refrain for accepting too many assignment if he is unlikely to be able to devote adequate time to each of his assignments. Clarification is also there. An insolvency professional may at any point of time not have more than 10 assignment as a resolution professional in corporate insolvency resolution process, of which not more than 3 shall have admitted claims exceeding 1000 crores rupees each. So this is basically defined here, how much assignment required to be taken by the IPs, but there is no strict regulations. This is not followed up by the IPs, so there is not the fair distribution of assignment. So I recommended to the board to make a regulation on this. And the regulation 7D, which I was suggested here, the enforcement of sealing on assignment by the IPs. So, in pursuance of clause 22 of the first schedule code of conduct under regulation this, no insolvency professionals shall accept or undertake more than 10 assignment in total across all the roles of the code, whether the RP, IRP, liquidator, bankruptcy, trustee, AR, whatever. So this should be restricted as 10, and 3 in case of if 1000 or crore or more. So there should be a strict regulations by the board. So this can be enforced. The board shall maintain a central assignment monitoring system. The board should also maintain this system which tracks in the real time the total number and nature of assignment held by each IPs. Upon reaching the ceiling prescribed under sub-regulation 1, the said insolvency professional shall be rendered eligible to receive any further assignment through the board only, or the adjudicating authority, creditors, or any stakeholders under the code. So board should basically make a ceiling, and they should also maintain how to follow this ceiling by the IPs, and be automatically suspended from the assignment allocations on the portal until the number of concurrent assignment falls within the prescribed limit. So disclose to the board within 48 hours any cessation, resignation, or completion of assignment. So we have required to disclose to the board also within 48 hours. So this is my recommendation basically. Now I want the views of other participants, what they are agree with me, or they have some more suggestions, or they have required some more changes. Please suggest, because this is very much crucial topic, and your views and suggestions have required on this.
Yeah, we agree with your points and we
Yes,
request
sir.
you to recommend them.
Okay. And if there any other changes, if anyone required, they can suggest. And I have also mentioned here some more. I will also read this. If anybody want to read this, they can read from this point number 4. Otherwise, I will read. An insolvency professional shall be obligated to file a self-declaration in form IPC22. There should be a form with every new assignment certifying that the ceiling limit are not being breached. They have required to give this declaration also. False or misleading declaration shall be treated as a professional misconduct. And if an insolvency professional is found to have violated the ceiling limit or the concealed the true number of size or ongoing assignment, the board may initiate disciplinary proceedings as per regulation this, or impose a penalty of 55 lakhs per violation, and suspend or cancel the certificate of registration. So there should be a strict rules and regulations should be imposed by the IBBI also. A
But
summary
ma'am,
of
but
yes,
ma'am,
yes,
but
sir.
Can we
ma'am, what?
recommend maximum ceiling limit of 10 assignment per
Yes, sir.
IP?
See that
Still, it is high because
5 lakh rupees, which you are saying, monetary limit should be
Yes,
entered.
yes,
Ma'am,
sir.
the fees we are getting it 1 lakh rupees. You are imposing of 5 lakh rupees. Most of the time, you can say like if whatever the maximum fees he have got it from the assignment. Why restricting that amount of 5 lakh?
Okay, okay. So we should mention here ki whatever the fees has been taken up from the assignment.
Yes.
Okay. Uh,
Which is exceeding the number of.
exceeding the ceiling limit.
No, when the assignment, suppose you have 10 assignment and you have taken 11th assignment. So
Okay.
whatever 11th assignment you are taking,
Yes.
that you have to do it, whatever income you are generating, that you have to pay to the penalty.
Sir, but how can the board will identify how much you have earned, how much
Because
the
whatever
other have
amount you are
earned?
receiving, whatever
Yes.
amount you are receiving from any assignment, you have to share the detail with the sharing of 0.25%, 1% with the board.
Okay.
So they are
Yes.
aware how much
Okay.
you have earned from the assignment.
Okay. So we should also
This
mention here ki up.
1,000,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
this 1,000 asset you are saying, no, whether it is a book value or what, on what basis this 1,000 limit is fixed,
1,000
ma'am?
crore
For
is on a claim value.
1,000 on
1,000 claim
book,
claim basis, ma'am. Claim basis.
on book value, ma'am.
No, on claim.
Claim.
Claim value.
The claim
1,000
filed by
crores is
the
the claim.
claimants, basically the
Claimant.
creditors.
So the asset size of the corporate debtor is saying, no?
Well, asset size, arriving at the asset size, the size will take time. So unless until the valuation stage is arrived, because that thing has to be decided at the inception of accepting the assignment.
So
So
at
once
the
the
time of
IRP is
assignment, we
appointed
don't know.
and
Ma'am,
the IRP is actually accepting the
Sir, one
claims.
by one, sir, because your voice is interrupting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so
Sumit,
the
sir.
issue over here, ma'am, is we should discourage the assignment more than 10 assignment per IP. But we should also put whether IP or a stroke IPE. Because what happened
Yes, sir.
right
I have
now,
also mentioned the limit for the IPE also. I have mentioned
Yeah.
here the restriction on volume of assignment supported by the IPEs. I have also
Huh.
put in here. Yes, sir.
Because ma'am, what happened
Yes.
right now in a year, the recent book which has been recent data which has been published by NCLT, it is saying the total assignment during the quarter, new assignment I am talking about, is around 300, 400,
Hmm.
all IP included.
Ma'am, please mute yourself. Ma'am. Yes, yes, sir.
The issue is if the total number of assignment comes 300 in a quarter, and we are more than that, IPs are more than that. If one IP is getting more than 10 assignments, and it should be mentioned that 10 new assignments.
Means I'm not able to understand you, sir. Where should I will written? What you want to suggest, sir?
I want to say the 10 assignment limit, which you are saying, or 3 assignment limit, or 1 assignment limit, whatever is coming, that should come after the regulations. Means suppose I have a 50 assignments right now.
Okay.
So if 10 assignments means 10 assignment, 10 new assignments in a year or in a at a time.
Sir, I don't think this will be the better enforcement of sealing on the assignment, because if we will do this, means if we can.
Because
Yeah, yes, sir.
when new assignment is being added in the
Yes.
IBBI website, because whenever you are get appointed, the IBBI website itself, they can stop it, that no one can accept more than 9 assignment or 10 assignment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There should be
Instead of making penalty, making RP to know about.
Because sometimes the IBBI is not monitoring on the AR, like the AR assignment.
No,
or
what
some-
I'm saying,
Yes, yes.
they don't have to look at that angle. What I'm saying, they have a system. Okay, in that
Yes.
system, every IP have to update the assignments. Correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
that he can upload all the forms and other things. Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Not uploading CRP1, CRP2, or whatever, CRP1 to 8. If you are
Yes,
not
sir.
filling, or IP1 you are not filling, you are anyway have a disciplinary action.
Yes,
Correct?
sir. Yes,
So at the time of adding itself, that can be checked from the back end, from the system itself, and they
Yes.
can put some bar on that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Instead
sir.
of once someone added a 15th assignment or 11th assignment, and then paying penalty, disciplinary actions, and all those things, will never happen.
Yes,
Because
sir.
at the time of adding the assignment, the system should throw how many assignment you already have. So he
Yes.
will not give more assignment this.
Got your point, sir. Subhash Chandra sir was also want to say something. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My simple submission is
Yes,
the
sir.
system should be like this, that each IP should get the assignment. Unless he get the assignment, he will never get the experience. Anybody, whoever senior he was new, fresher when he joined. System
Yes.
should be like a roster system. You give to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the IP who already has one should be given the another assignment only after everybody has got. Because everybody has almost same qualification. He has passed out the exam.
Sir, we are not talking. Sir, we are not talking about.
Sir, let me complete. Or if
Yes,
you
sir.
want, I don't speak.
Yes.
I don't speak. You
Yes.
speak, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Speak, sir. Sir, Subhash sir, please.
My simple submission is, number one, each IP has come into the profession to learn and to contribute whatever he has acquired in a 15 years of professional career life. Nobody is a kid here. This
Yes.
IBBI understand, everybody understand. So if he's not given the assignment, how he will prove his mental, how he will prove that what capable he is.
Yes.
It is not that the person who has taken one assignment, he's much better,
sir,
only he
sir,
can do.
I have
So-
already written here ki the prior experience as an IP shall not be a precondition, because we all are having the 10 or 15 years experience.
So the limit, my submission is different. I am saying the IBBI has given, okay, maximum 10. they have put the limit of 10. Have
Yes.
anybody, there are many who have not even one. What is the criteria for putting the 10?
Yes.
When you are not giving an assignment to 1, 2, 3, 4,
So,
what?
so,
So
sir, what you want?
I have written that this should be one. You give the assignment to everybody who has not got. If the person without assignment, give him to him. Number one, you have a
Yes.
central pool. You are the body who is regulating IPs. Banks not. If everybody, every bank, every financial institution, they ask, they are bargaining. Are the IPs available like the tomato potatoes? Like that? Okay, you come to us and what we pay you. So if you want the quality, if you want to penalize, you want discipline, everything you want from the professional, treat them
Yes.
like a professional.
Yes. Sir.
Treat them like a professional.
Yes.
Now
Sir.
on the one side, say, okay,
Yes.
COC wisdom, okay, this okay, this
So,
okay,
so,
then
sir,
why the
sir,
IPs? My
sir,
simple submission is IP is a judicial person. IP is appointed by the court. IP has to work as per the regulation of the IBC. He is controlled, regulated, supervised by the so many seniors, by IBBI, by NCLT, by judicial member. When there are so many people and he himself has 15-year experience, why don't you give him free hand? Why don't you give him the trust? Why don't you give him the work? You don't give anything to him and you are after him that, okay, we are ready with the cannon stick. No carrot. What this fun? Because people are not ready to take the assignment. People are afraid that, okay, why I come to the profession just for the namesake? So the problem is that most of the people, they have created IPE. IP, they are happy, they have setting with them. I know the people. They have the setting in the IBBI, they get the cases, all the big cases go to them. For the new, okay, we will manage, you try, okay, fine, this. They it is like a, it's like a market. It is
okay,
not a
sir.
professional organization, it's a market.
Yes,
So
got
my
your
simple
point, sir.
simple submission is that
Yes.
there should be a system that each one should be given the assignment.
Yes, sir.
Let him prove the work,
Yes.
quality will improve, system will improve, ecosystem will improve, and the industry will also improve.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Rakesh, sir, you were
Madam,
saying something.
Madam, one more,
Yes.
one
Yes,
more
sir.
request.
Yes.
Madam, in that condition, you said it is and. So whether 10 and 1000 both have to be satisfied or it is either or. You say it is and.
Where, ma'am? I want
Yeah, 10 assignments.
Can I read again this regulation which I have inserted here? This is enforcement on sealing of assignment by the
Yeah.
agency professionals in
Yeah, you
pursuance
said
of laws. Yes, ma'am. Where you
then
want
10
to add?
assignments
And
and
okay,
3
and
assignments of 1000. So it should be or it should be
or
and.
okay, you want to
It
add
should-
or here or
Yes, ma'am. Either any condition satisfied. I think instead of 10, it may be 5, so that the
okay,
opportunity get distributed. And
okay,
this should be or only. Because
okay,
if anybody falls in either of the condition, they should not be get another assignments. So
got
then
it.
only the other person will be able to get. If both the
Got it.
conditions have to be satisfied, then I think it may not work out properly.
Okay, got it, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for
Other
considering.
suggestions, if any other suggestions in this regulations, which I have drafted something. The impose a penalty here, Rakesh sir was saying something. We have required to delete this and what have required to insert it here, sir? Rakesh sir?
No, if there is an operational creditor, the possibility of recovery become very much less.
Yes.
So
Yes,
5
ma'am.
lakhs means he
Yes,
will be
sir.
losing
Sir,
so
you
much. Maybe
want to
financial
make some
creditors.
amendments here, no?
Ma'am, the problem is the banker or the COC member wants to have a favorite IPs.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I
And-
have also written this here. Ki the
Huh.
favorite IP should not be taken up. The again, because the rotational basis appointment should be there.
Yes, in one
Yes.
IP is getting all the cases of one bank.
Yes.
We should be that in one bank you can get maximum 3 or 5 in a year type of things should be also mentioned.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And
10 is
One
too
bank
much.
only is giving assignment to one bank is giving assignment to one IP, 10 assignments, and in
Yes.
the name of the same firm.
Hmm.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Why the banks or FCs are allowed to take the IPs? IPs is a judicial person appointed by the NCLT. Why they
That
have
is the
given
main
that?
thing.
So that we
That
have
is
to.
the main thing, sir.
So that IBBI has to decide for the
Yes,
impartiality.
yes. So therefore, I have written here कि the IBBI should decide कि how to give the assignment to the person, and they have provide the data to the adjudicating authority, bankers, OC, everywhere. They have required to give the data.
Not
And
data.
this is also a valid point, sir. I have understand कि the adjudicate in each and every case whether this is related to section 9 or section 7 applications, only the adjudicating authority should give the person who can be appointed as a IP. So I will also mention here. I got your point also, sir. This is a valid point.
I think banks should not be allowed to empanel.
Yes, yes.
their
This is the much a difficulty, because every bank having their separate empanelments. Why they have the separate empanelments if IBBIs is already recommended the list of the IPs? So why they have their own empanelments? This is very valid point, sir. I have already mentioned here. Any such panel maintained as on the date of this notification shall stand void, and no financial creditor shall maintain any separate panel of IPs for the purpose of initiating the proceeding under the code. I have mentioned here, sir.
This
Specifically, I have
provision,
mentioned.
this
That is
provision
why
itself against the spirit of the IBC. Spirit
Yes.
of the IBC is
Yes.
that be fair, logical, and judicious.
Yes.
The person appointed by the FC cannot go against the wishes of the FC.
Yes, sir.
He
Yes, sir.
cannot go. What
Yes.
happened in Bhushan
And we
Steel
have
case?
required to go and make the empanelment with the banks. Why? Because we are the adjudicating person and we have required to be appointed by the NCLT or the board only. Yes,
Only
sir.
he can
Very
be
valid.
only he can be impartial. Otherwise, it is against the objective of the IBC.
Yes,
If
sir.
somebody read the BSNL case and Jindal case, it is clearly because
Very-
they have decided
Yeah.
because he did not go against the commercial wisdom. Everything was on the in the
Yes, sir.
document that he
Yes.
agreed what the FC agreed. What
Yes, sir.
commercial
Agreed,
wisdom.
sir. Agreed. And I have mentioned also this point. And if you have some more suggestions, because I am requesting to all, because the ICSI, IPA or other IPAs have required to submit their proposal to the IBI till 30th June. So we have required to discuss all the regulations, have required to recommended all the changes to the IBBI. So they can consider our changes.
Ma'am, can I say something?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Here a few of the fellow members are of the view that IBBI should, recommend the appointment.
Yes.
So I'm just making a point that we need to understand that IBBI is a regulator. It is in no capacity to execute any of the, working of the whole framework of IBC. If we see, there is a judiciary, on the one side, and one side the regulators. Now, saying that IBBI should appoint will be a conflict of interest at the level of IBBI, because IBBI can regulate. It has to see the disciplinary things and to make the law. They have been appointed. The board has been constituted to take the overall
We
framework
are
of
not
it.
saying कि IBBI should appoint. They should give the list to the adjudicating authority. They should maintain a proper panel, and there should not be allowed
It
to
is
the
there, ma'am.
banks
It is
or the
already there. We
yes,
all of
it is
we
already
all are
there.
aware of
But
that.
sir, I'm interrupting you because sorry, because all banks are having their own separate panels. Why
That
they are
is
having
something I
their,
agree. That is something which I agree with all the
and
members
the
of the same view.
adjudicating authority should recommend. If IBBI cannot make the appointment, the adjudicating authority should appoint in each and every case to the IPs. Because
Agreed.
the banks cannot select their favorites, or they cannot select.
Correct. I agree, ma'am. Fully agreed.
So,
Yes.
yes, because we want these type of changes in the regulations.
Correct.
The fair assignment can be, fair allocation of assignment can be given to each and every professionals.
Right, ma'am. Agreed.
Yes,
Agreed.
yes.
Bank should not be given the power and the
Yeah,
autonomy to
because
appoint the
because if we
IPs.
will go to the bank and will make the empanelment there, there is some conflict of interest created
Correct.
at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
So the
True.
whole power should be given to the AA only. The adjudicating authority should appoint whether the case is a Section 9 application or whether the case is related to
एवढा
Section
खराब
7.
होता हो म्हणजे काय काय विचारलं होतं अभ्यास नव्हतं केलं
So, I have also mentioned something. Ma'am, please mute your mic.
आल्यावर सांगतो म्हणला
Yes,
I request Mr. Manoj Shah to please mute yourself.
yes.
सॉरी सर सॉरी
Yes. One more regulations I have recommended here. The regulation 7E should be inserted. The restriction on volume of assignments supported by IPEs. Because insolvency professional entities have taken all the support services. As a IP, we cannot provide any services to anyone because IPE are only providing the support services also. So applicability of this regulation applies to IPE providing support services to the insolvency professionals, whether those IPs are partners, directors, or associated with the IPE. Prohibition on taking assignment in IPE name, because IPE is taking assignments in their own name. Then they have distributed this assignment to the directors or partners, whatever they want. They have distributing these assignments. So an IPE shall not accept or undertake any insolvency resolution, liquidation, bankruptcy, voluntary liquidation assignment in its own name, directly or indirectly. Explanation of assignment can be taken only by the individual insolvency professional who are registered with the board. So assignment can be taken only by the IP who are registered with the board, not by the IPE in their own name. They can take the assignment in the name of their partners or directors, but they cannot take the assignment in their own name, as per my suggestions. And if anybody want to suggest something, they can suggest. Or definition of support services. Here, what will be considered as the support services? Support services include but not limited to use of IPE office or staff or system infrastructure, brand, email IDs or physical address, administrative, financial, legal, secretarial or technical assistance, and billing or collecting of fees on behalf of the IP. Mandatory disclosure by the IPEs. The IPE shall submit to the board a quarterly list of partners as per the IBBI portal, list of all assignment being supported, and nature of support services rendered as per the assignment. So the board have the list in this assignment the support services was rendered by this IPE. So IPE can also be liable as the IP. So I want this recommendation also here. The enforcement and penalty, where an IPE supports assignment beyond the prescribed ceiling, suppose the provided support without the disclosure or misrepresent the nature of its support role, the board may take the disciplinary action, including the suspension or cancellation of IPE recognition and penalty and debarment of IPE. So this I have mentioned here. If you want any suggestion or changes, you can suggest. Or central monitoring is also there. Board shall maintain a central system to tag every assignment where an IPE is functionally involved, even if the assignment is formally held in the name of an IP. So board should maintain a central system to tag every assignment in which the IP is providing its support services. So this is my recommendation. Now you may suggest. Or further any suggestions on this you may provide. I will share this draft to the ICSI IPA. And if any other suggestions you have, you can suggest here. I will make a change, or you can also mention in the chat box. Proceed, sir. So we'll proceed further. So
I have a suggestion
yes,
regarding the
yes,
support services, though it
yes,
is not purely in line what has been written on the screen. So,
yes,
sometimes it happens that, there are two professionals who are partner otherwise in a CA firm or maybe, any other entity. But individually they are practicing as a, IP. Both of them are IPs. So, suppose they get an assignment in the name of one of the partner and they are collectively, executing that assignment as IP, RP or IRP, whatever. Now, both of them are gaining experience. One is having assignment in his name, her name, whatever, and the other partner is supporting, for all the work that has been done from, starting from IRP stage to then IP stage, then, preparing the resolution plan and everything, and to the stage of resolution or maybe liquidation thereafter.
Mhm.
Now that support services experience which the other partner is gaining, that actually is not written anywhere or not counted, whenever
Yes,
the empanelment is made by IBBI, and, it is never asked unless
yes,
until that assignment has been taken directly by the IP. So I think that experience should be counted. There could be some certain parameters that can be made so
yes.
that, only
You
for
can
the
provide the support services.
exactly. Even
Okay.
if there are no commercials and, no sharing with that, but definitely when two
Yes,
partners are working together, otherwise on the other domain of the professional, areas, so
yes,
they, it is ought to have, have experience, because the same staff is actually doing the, insolvency executions. So that suggestion is that, there should be some scope of counting that support service experience of a particular partner in whose name the assignment is not there, but it practically is doing that. That is
yes,
all. Thank you.
yes. Okay, sir.
Madam,
If you can
Madam.
suggest in a line or something in a chat box, this will be more comfortable.
So let me draft and share it, ma'am. You can
Yes,
proceed further.
yes, yes,
Thank you.
yes,
Madam,
please.
Madam, one more,
Yes,
Madam,
yes, sir.
one more
Yes, sir.
situation is there
Yes, sir.
that NCLT appoints the IPs in several cases.
Yes, sir.
There should be some transparency, there should be some criteria, what
Yes,
they do. This
yes,
is nothing of that sort. I have been empaneled for 4 years, 5 years, but still I have not received any assignment whatsoever.
yes, yes, sir. I have written
And there must
already
be
written,
certain
sir.
who may be getting 3, 4 assignments. So
Yes,
these are
yes.
criteria, madam. There
I
should be
know, sir.
transparency.
I know. This is the pain of all IPs. I know, sir. I have mentioned specifically that the board should maintain the system, and the should be recommendation only adjudicating authority should be there. I will also write now कि in the section 7 application, the adjudicating authority should only be appointed the IPs. Whether section 9 or section 7 applications, only adjudicating authority should take the decision. For
And then madam, adjudicating authority, there should be some criteria, transparent criteria.
yes, there should
Why they are giving all assignments to 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 persons? Why not to
yes,
that should also be.
1 minute,
Yes.
excuse me. So what
Yes.
is the suggestion is that if IBBI describe or prescribe certain criteria, industry knowledge or experience or the level, that will helpful, and on this basis assignment can be done and IPs can accordingly get the assignment. Thank you, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Got it. And sir, if possible, ma'am, if possible, you may also mention your comments in the chat box, because
I
ICSI
am
IPA
mentioning
can
it, ma'am.
consider these
I'm
comments also.
clearly mentioning it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please. Thank you, sir. So we'll proceed further now. Section 7A, I have suggested these all regulations, recommended all these regulations now. Now we'll read regulation 8, refusal to grant the certificate. If after considering an application under regulation this, the board is the prima facie opinion that the registration ought not be granted, it shall communicate the reason for forming such an opinion and give the application an opportunity to explain why its application should be accepted within 15 days of the receipt of communication from the board to enable it to form an final opinion. And this is basically the refusal to grant the registration is basically in the power of the IBBI. So I don't think there is a need to read these regulations. Will further proceed because there are some more regulations are there. The chapter number 4 is there, issue and surrender of authorization for assignment and disciplinary proceedings. So how can we surrender our AA as authorization for assignment? All the procedure is here. The insolvency professional agency shall inform the board within the issue or renewal of authorization for assignment, suspend or cancel, revoke the suspension. So all the points are here mentioned.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Why there should be need of authorization for assignment? Once a member has, insolvency professional has given a registration fee,
Yes, sir.
registered itself with the and certificate of registration is obtained. Why there
Yes, sir. Before
need for authorization?
2019, there was no criteria for taking this type of authorization of assignment. Now they have, after 2019, they have made this criteria to take to compulsorily make the authorization of assignment. Only then we can take any assignment because
this is nothing but just
yeah.
exploitation. You may get an assignment, you may not get an assignment, but to be eligible for getting assignment, you must have a authorization of assignment without knowing whether you are going to get it or not going to get it. So it is another burden, financial burden.
Yes.
For those who have not received any assignment till date.
But sir, because there are some problem was arise earlier in 2019, before 2019 cases was there. So some of the problems was arise. So therefore, it was compulsorily made by the ICA, the IPS to take this.
Okay, there could be a some information, some application, but where is the need to charge for it?
Yes.
Additional charges.
Yeah,
for
additional charges. Yes, additional charges, additional burden are there.
Yeah.
So
without knowing that you will be suppose you are registered for say from 2017, it is now 8 years, and if you have not received and assuming that it has started from 2019, for 19 to 25, 6 years you have paid for authorization and you have not got the assignment.
The fees, there should be some exemption to in the fees also in case of authorization of assignment. Suppose if a person having not a single assignment in whole of the years.
No, it should be. My suggestion is it should be linked with the assignment. As soon as you get the assignment, this should be required to be.
Yes, sir. So you can mention your suggestions, sir, where required to be changed, because the board will ask where we have required to insert the regulations. So if you can suggest in a writing way or after this section, you have to insert.
No, I'll write in the chat box.
Yeah,
ma'am, there is one more suggestion, ma'am. There are many IP professionals. My name is Jagdish Ahuja.
Yes.
There are many IP professionals who are registered valuers also.
Yes,
and
sir.
There should be some concept of cross recognition, because this means same program for registered valuer you are giving separate CPE, and for insolvency professional you are giving separate, and we have to complete CPE for our Institute of Company Secretaries also, if you are a member of ICSI. Similarly, if you are a member of Chartered Accountant Institute, then you have obligation to complete CPE hours there separately.
Yes, sir.
So there should be some recognition for cross recognition.
Sir, just to add one thing which you have suggested, that is something I'm not sure about the ICSI, but ICI is doing that. I am a member of ICI RVO, and if I am attending any of their programs, so generally they are providing CPRs for both the domains as IP and RVO both.
No, sir, I'm not saying that. That cross recognition is there. But if as an IP I am attending some program, so they should give credit to registered valuer also there.
Agreed, sir. Agreed. I fully agree with you. It should be there. I mean, you are saying that instead of the IP or the RVO is taking care of it, it should be from the IBBI itself.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
one more thing. Why should be a reason for uploading the program or conference the
Yes,
CP or
yes,
credit?
yes,
It will
yes,
be taken
yes.
by the system itself, by the IPA. They will
Yes,
upload with the
It should
name of the
be
person
correct.
who
I
are
also
attending.
suggest that. And
yes,
then there should be a suggestion that, this IPA itself should upload the CPRs based on the attendance, because
Correct.
we have been told that attendance is being monitored by the system, whatever
yes,
system is
Yes.
there.
yes,
It
yes,
should be
so,
done by them.
yes,
What
Yes.
happens, sir, in RVO, when I talk about the RVO, ICMA RVO, they are directly giving credit, whatever attending programs you are attending.
Yes,
But
yes. ICRB is also doing that. I'm not, because and the other IPAs are not doing actually. They have to upload it.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So please mention your suggestion in the chat box is agreed with you. And the surrender of certificate of registration, basically this is mentioned, how can we surrender our certificate of registration. Now I think we should proceed for the further provision, because there are no more amendments in this regulations. Only one changes was came in 2025 April. So I have already shown you. Now we will discuss some more relevant regulations. So this is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India Model Bylaws and Governing Board of Insolvency Professional Agency Regulation 2016, and this was also amended up to 29th January 2025. So what are there? This is basically the IPA Insolvency Professional Agencies regulations are there. Their governing board related regulations are there in this regulation, and their model bylaws is there. So what is this was came into force on the same in 2016 in the publication of official gazette, and definitions was given, the board definition, code, governing board, and I will show you what is in 2025 there was, what are the changes is there. This is substituted in on 28th January 2025. Prior to the substitution, it was stood as 45 days. Now it is 90 days. So I will read this regulation. So what is the regulation is here? Register of professional member. So agency, the IPA shall maintain a register of its professional members containing their names, proof of identity, contact details, address, date of enrollment and professional membership number, and date of registration with the board and registration number. And the FA is there. Date of issue, renewal, suspension and revocation of suspension, cancellation and acceptance or surrender of authorization for assignment, and authorization number. So I will suggest F double A should be there also, yeah, or F double A should be there, in which they have maintained the CP number. The IPA should also maintain a register of CP hours of the IPs. They should also maintain the CP hours register of the IPs, as was recommended by the one of the members of the IPs. So I will recommend there should be some more insertion of the regulation, sub-regulation FAA. They should maintain the register of CPE hours of the of the insolvency professional, and they should report to the IBBI. Details of the partners, director, as the case may be, whether the professional member in the IPE because they are already maintaining these details, so they should also maintain our CPE, our relating details as recommended. Details of grievance pending against with the agency, details of the disciplinary proceeding pending against with the agency, details of the order passed against the board or the disciplinary committee of the agency, record relating to the professional member shall be made available for inspection to the board, adjudicating authority, and the committee of the creditors. So basically this is provided. Now, authorization for assignment. An agency on an application by its professional member may issue or renew an authorization for assignment. A professional member shall be eligible to obtain an authorization for assignment if the professional member is registered with the board as IP, is a fit and proper person in terms of this regulation, and is not an employment not debarred by any direction or order of the agency of the board, and shall not attain the age of 70 years, has no disciplinary proceeding pending against before the agency or the board, and complies with the requirement as per the date of the application with respect to payment of fee to the agency and the board, and filing the and disclosure of the agency and the board, the continuous professional education and other requirement as stipulated under the code and regulation, circulation, direction or guidelines is issued by the agency and the board from time to time. Now, this was the only inserted here. Now, some changes is here in 25 is there, I think. The provided that in item number C, G3 shall not be applicable for the which is an insolvency professional entity registered as an IP. An application for issue or renewal of the authorization for assignment shall be in such form and manner as may be provided by the agency. There are some changes is here we have seen inserted by the this is a 26 substitution was made on 28th January. Prior to this was the 45 days. So 26 is there. Provided that an application for the renewal or of an authorization for assignment shall be made any time before the date of the expiry of the authorization, but not earlier than 90 days. Now this is substituted. Earlier this was 45 days. Now this is 90 days before the date of the expiry of the authorization. So we have a more time to make our application for renewal of the authorization of assignment, which is 90 days now. Earlier this was the 45 days. So this was basically substituted as per this this notification. And one more substitution is there on 28th January 2025. Prior to this substitution, it was stood as 15 days. So what is 27 point? The point number 27 is there. If the authorization for assignment is not issued, renewed or rejected by the agency within 90 days, because 90 days was given here. So not renewed or rejected within the 90 days, then days of the date of the receipt of application, the authorization authorization shall be deemed to have been issued or renewed as the case may be by the agency. Before this was the 15 days. Now this is 90 days. So IPA is also have more time to grant the or issue or renew the or reject the authorization of assignment, because this was changed from 15 to 90 days now. Provided that for an application received on and from the date of commencement of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India model bylaws of this and ending on 30th September 2020, if the authorization for assignment is not issued, renewed, or rejected by agency within 30 days of the date of receipt of application, the authorization shall be deemed to have been issued or renewed as the case may be. So this is the further exception was given here. And so these are basically the substitution. These two changes are there. The 45 was substituted with the 90 days and 15 was substituted by the 90 days. So this is the minor changes is here. I will also show, is there any other changes, if any? So these are the only changes, two changes is here in this regulation. So is there anybody wants to give any suggestions on this regulation or something? These are the duties of the members in performance of its function. The professional member shall act in no suggestions. Okay, sir. So this is the bylaws basically of the IPA. Now we'll read another regulations. This Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, insolvency professional agencies, because these are the model laws and these are the insolvency professional agencies regulation, because there are no further amendments which was came till the date. So these was amended up to 4th July 2022. So these regulation may be called the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, IPA Regulation 2016. And these regulations shall come into force on the date of their publication in the official gazette. The code, control, certificate of registration, all definitions are defined here. The net worth is here, or net worth is defined as per the Companies Act. So the IPA, who are registered as a IPA, so what type of company can be registered as a insolvency professional agencies? So basically this is defined here. So eligibility for registration, no person shall be eligible for registration as a IPA unless it is a company registered as per section 8, means non-profit making company basically, as per the Companies Act, and its sole object is to carry on the function of the insolvency professional agency under the code and its bylaws or governance structure in accordance with the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India regulation this. So this was basically defined ki its board structure is as per the model bylaws, which we have already discussed. So the structure should be as per these regulations, and it is minimum net worth is mentioned here. The 10 crores rupees is the minimum net worth for the IPA registration, and paid up capital also 5 crore rupee required, and it is not under the control of any person resident outside India. So basically the 51% holding or more than 51% should be from India, not from outside India. So not more than 49% of its share capital is held directly or indirectly by a person resident outside India. So basically it is here. It is not a subsidiary of any body corporate through more than one layer. Means one layer is allowed, like ICSI IPA is the subsidiary of ICSI. So one layer is allowed. The 2 or 3 layers are not allowed. So it is not a subsidiary of any body corporate through more than one layer. So I will request to the ICSI IPA, if any members from the ICSI IPA, they have any suggestions to make any changes in these regulations or something, they can also share their challenges or something with us, so we can also understand, and they can also write down in their noting, so they can recommend it to the board for the further recommendations. So I will request if ICSI IPA's members who are attending this webinar, if they have any suggestions, they can also provide. So it is not basically it is here, not a one layer. I have already told you. The applicant, its promoters, its directors, its shareholders are the fit and proper person. Here is also mentioned that they should also have the fit and proper person. And for the purpose, the layer in this relation, because they have also defined the layer. What is the meaning of layers? They have given here. The layer in relation to a body corporate means its subsidiary for determining whether a person is a fit and proper. Under clause H, the board may take into account any consideration as it deemed fit, including but not limited to the following criteria, namely integrity, reputation, character, whatever is provided as per the insolvency professional, it is also provided for the IPA. So absence of conviction on restraint order, competence, including the financial solvency and net worth. So they have defined the same definition for the fit of and proper person as was defined for the insolvency professionals. So no person shall at any time directly or indirectly, either individually or together with person acting in concert, acquire or hold more than 5% of the paid up equity share capital of a IPA. So they have also mentioned कि no person can take more than 5% of the paid up capital of the IPA. But the stock exchange, depository, banking company, insurance company, PFI, so they can hold, may acquire or hold directly, indirectly, either individually or together with the person acting up to 15%. These type of person can hold capital of the IPA till the 15% only, up to 15% only of the paid up equity shares capital of the insolvency professional agency. Provided further, the central government, state government and statutory authority, if these are any type of authorities are there, they can hold directly, indirectly 100%. They have the power to hold 100% of the paid up capital of the IPA. So this is basically here the application for registration and renewal. So how the IPA should make the application for registration and renewal. So the company eligible for registration as a IPA may make the application to the board in Form A in schedule this along with the application of 10 lakh rupees, because for us the 20,000, for IPE 2 lakhs and for the IPA is 10 lakhs. So IPA who has been granted the registration under regulation this may 6 months before the expiry of such registration make an application of renewal in Form A. So they have made it clear that they have required to make the application also with the fee. The board shall acknowledge an application under this regulation within 7 days of its receipt. And board shall examine the application and give an opportunity to the applicant to remove the deficiency, if any, in the application. And board may require the application to submit within a reasonable time or additional document. So basically, there was no changes made in this regulation after 22, the year 2022. So grant of certificate of registration have been given here. If board is satisfied after such inspection or inquiry as it deemed necessary, it having regard to the principle as specified in this section of the code, then they will grant the registration to the IPA. And because the IPA, if having the adequate infrastructure, eligible and has in its employment person having adequate professionals, then the board only give the registration to the IPA. So this is mentioned here. Now the procedure for rejection of application is also mentioned here, and surrender or cancellation of registration. So how can IPA can surrender? So IPA is also having the opportunity. They can also surrender or cancel their registration. And IPA may submit an application for surrender of a certificate of registration to the board, providing the reason of such surrender and detail of all the pending or ongoing engagement under the code of IP enrolled with it, and details of its pending and ongoing activities and the manner in which it seeks to wind up. So they have also the opportunity to make surrender their registration if they don't want. And the board, within 7 days of receipt of application, publish the notice of receipt on the website, and to be submitted within 14 days of the publication to the notice. After considering the application and objection submitted under this regulation, board may within 30 days from the last date of submission of objection approve the application for surrender of or register of the registration. So the time limit is also mentioned here, in which time, how many days is there in which the board will grant the registration, the surrender, the registration. And disciplinary proceeding is also against the IPA. So the disciplinary proceeding shall be conducted in accordance with the provision of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India in inspection and investigation regulation, because this regulation we will discuss in the next webinar, which was held on 26th May. So please join this webinar also. This is very fruitful webinar, inspection and investigation, and there are so many changes have been came recently in this in these regulations also. So I request to all the participants in the next webinar, please join this appeal. So how can make the appeal? The appeal may be preferred as per section 202 of the code. So what is provided as per section 202? Basically, this is the appeal which can be filed before the NCLT only. So this is also defined in as per section 202. Grant of in principle approval. Any person who seek to establish IPA may make the application for an principal approval, demonstrating that the condition in sub-regulation 2 will be satisfied. So non-refundable fee related application is 10 lakh. And if board is satisfied, this will grant the registration. So basically, this was defined for the IPA, and IPA is having any suggestions, they can also suggest and they can also recommend it to the IBBI. So I'm asking to all the participants if they have some more suggestions or they have want to make some other changes, they can suggest. Otherwise, now I think the time is already have gone. So we can finish the webinars now, and we will again meet on 26th and we'll discuss the inspection investigation related regulations. And I will also suggest some recommendations on these regulations, and you also have any views, you can also suggest.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I will give this whatever the new regulations we want to incorporate in the regulation. I will give this to the ICSI IPA, and you all have already mentioned your suggestion in the chat box, I think. So this will be helpful to make some more effective and efficient regulations by the IBBI. So can we finish now, Anjali? Can we?
Yes, ma'am, we can conclude.
Yeah, we can conclude.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and thank you all the participants for your valuable suggestions.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.